Okay, as everybody's kind of getting settled, before I start, I kind of wanted to take the temperature of the room before we really get into everything, and I'm stealing this from one of my brilliant coworkers, but on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 means I am a mastery at this, I know a lot, or 0 means I know nothing about this. How much do you know about the ECC? So if you're a 0 and I know nothing about the ECC, show me up. Show me up, 0. Okay, say I'm about a 1, I know a little bit. I can use some more. Okay, about a 2. Okay, about a 3. I know a little more than that. You know, I'm getting there, midway. Okay, 4. I know a lot about this. I use it every day, kind of thing. 5. Okay. That helps me. That helps me. All right, am I supposed to do this clap? To sync the mic? They told me to do a clap to like sync the mic.
Oh,
We're good? Okay. Okay, good.
We've had you for the last 15 minutes.
Oh. Okay. So I want to get started so we have enough time because I never finish because this is my absolute favorite topic to talk about, okay? And that's the expanded core curriculum. So, did you know that ECC stood for the expanded core curriculum? Yes? No? Did we know that part?
Yes.
Okay, good. So first off, if you want to understand the expanded core curriculum, we have to know, well, what is the core curriculum, right? So the core curriculum is a body of knowledge that every student has to have in order to graduate from high school. That's your sciences, your math, your fine arts, your social studies, all those kinds of things, right? You've got to have this to graduate. So that's the core curriculum. All right, so now, I'm not normally a presenter, I'm truly a teacher at heart, so I'm going to make you do some teachery things. So bear with me during the presentation because you're going to be my class today. So then, what is the expanded core curriculum, right? So that's what makes MSP so special. That's why I'm so excited about it, and that's why I love it, because the expanded core curriculum is unique to us and what we do. The expanded core curriculum is a body of knowledge and skills that has to be taught for students with vision loss in order to have postgraduate pursuits, as well as it's a result of their unique and disability-specific needs. So it's things like, when you walk into a classroom, everything you see on the wall, how do they have access to that, right? So we have to teach them the skills, right? All the tricks of the trade to give them everything that everybody else has so that they're successful after graduation. And we're the only place that does that. Well, unless you're a TVI Allen County. So then why do we bother to teach it? If no one knows about it here, and that's what makes this place so special, we have to know why we teach it, right? Well, like I mentioned, in the classroom, throughout their lives, sighted kids can walk into any area and just take in information just by looking around. But our kids, they might take in only part of the information, they might take in misinformation, right? Or they might take in none of the information. And so if we don't give them that, they're going to miss those concepts. They're going to learn them incorrectly, or they're going to not know them at all. They're what I call like the Swiss cheese kids. We know part, but we don't know everything. Pieces are missing, right? So our job is to fill it in. That's, again, why I get so excited. Okay, sorry. I'm cheesy about this topic, but it's because I love it. So what comprises the ECC? The ECC is made up of 9 areas, okay? As you can see them listed here. Compensatory and functional academics, including communication modes, orientation and mobility, social interaction skills, independent living skills, rec and leisure, career ed, the use of technology, sensory efficiency skills, and self-determination. And we're going to explore these areas today. And not only are we going to explore them, my goal for you today is to leave thinking about routines and things that you do on a daily basis and how the ECC can be part of those routines. All right? What Robin Clark does, she's one of the ECC giants in the field, is she's broken the ECC down into 3 major areas. So that way you don't have to remember all 9. And I like the way that she presents this and the way we can look at it is, the first is access. How is the student going to access things? That's your compensatory skills, your sensory efficiency skills, and assistive technology, whether that's low or high tech. That's how they gain access to the world, the things that they're missing. The next is independent living, and that covers your rec and leisure, your independent living skills, and your self-determination. And the last is community readiness areas, which is O&M, social interaction, and career education. So if you think about those three areas, those are the three targets that you want to hit with every student you interact with. You're pushing them to have access, you're pushing them to be independent, and you're pushing them to be ready to be in the community. That's our goal here at MSP, right? Yes, yes, I hope? Okay, I see nods. We're not asleep yet. Okay, sensory efficiency. And the handouts I've given you really outline each of the areas, so I encourage you to take them, pick them up, and look at them, because we're going to be using them later on in the presentation. So each of the 9 areas are broken down one into this main chart that you can take a look at in the front, and then each skill is broken down into different handouts in 2 different ways. There's ones with nice pretty graphics and one with just print. But I wanted you to have all the information about each skill, something that you can refer back to on a regular basis. So feel free to look at that sensory efficiency. Okay, so the areas of sensory efficiency that are covered are visual functioning, auditory functioning, tactile functioning, gustatory, which is taste, and olfactory, which is smell. So our students have to use each of these senses, right, to access things. It helps them to search for, know, study their environment, and it relates to all areas of concept development. Think about it. When you take in a concept, you want to know how it smells, how it tastes, how it sounds, how it feels, right? So it's important when we're missing one of those areas that we're accessing through all the other areas in order to gain true knowledge of the concept. Please interrupt me if you have questions. Feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so here's where I'm going to get teachery on you. You just learned a little bit about sensory efficiency. I want you to do what's called think, pair, share. I want you to think about it, turn to somebody at your table, and share what sensory skill might a student use to complete an IEP goal here at MSB. Or any task, if you don't know an IEP goal, any task. What sensory skill might a student use? So you have a few seconds to go ahead and think, pair, and share. So, she said auditory. Are we giving out, like, an example, are we giving our time, oh, and you get candy if you answer, just so you know, bonus. Are we giving our students enough time to listen in their environment of what's going on around them, right? I have been totally guilty as a teacher of rushing through something or pushing to the next event without taking the time to slow and listen to what might be going on, and those might be cues that our students are picking up, right? So yes, auditory is huge. I'm coming to you, hold on.
I guess they would use the sense of smell if they were cooking something.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, cooking, right? Biggest sense of smell you can use. You can tell when something's burnt, right? Yes. You can tell when something's burned if you're using your sense of smell. Correct. Okay, I'm coming. You got it? Absolutely. Okay, so she went to orientation and mobility, which is another one of those. But let's talk about specifically in orientation and mobility, how could one of these sensory skills be used? What input is our students getting from their canes? What input? Yes, tactile input. The bottom of their cane is giving them something that they can feel, right? It's also giving them that auditory input we talked about. So a cane sounds different when it hits metal or glass or plastic, right? So if we take time to listen to that and label that, how many concepts are you building right there, right? Yes? Okay, or smooth surface versus a rough surface? Yes. So all of these things could be there could be multiple ways of accessing in one activity, but are we taking the time to pull them out? Talk with the student about them, explore them. Yes. As far as that olfactory, the smell sense, yes, I will tell you. Students know when something's burning. I've done a lot of cooking lessons. All right. Okay, so let's go on to compensatory skill. Pull out your sheet for that. Compensatory access. So this is how our students, the skills that they need to access information. The words that they use to communicate, how they're going to do that. So is that through braille and large print, right? Audio, a combination of all of the above. It's also some spatial understanding, some communication modes, right? What are we going to choose to use to get this message to someone? Am I going to use my phone, my laptop, write a note, call, right? Speaking and listening skills, studying and organizational skills. Ooh, how many of our students have messy backpacks, right? Okay, and a use of adaptive and specialized education materials, tactographics, those kinds of things. This is the bonus number one question. Where would you find information about a student's compensatory access skills? How would you get that? How would you get that information? If they're braille, large print, audio, where would you find that information? Hold on, I'm coming, Miss Sharia. Go ahead.
In IEP.
Yes, in an IEP. If you don't have access to the IEP, there's one specific portion of the IEP that's going to tell you that. She is on the money. So the teacher of the visually impaired has to do an assessment on a student that's called a functional vision and learning media assessment. The learning media assessment is going to tell you what skill a student uses for compensatory access. If you haven't seen your student's learning media assessment, that's my homework for you this week, is to go and find out how your student accesses things to the learning media assessment. Because if you're providing them with one method of communication and they are actually supposed to use another, then are they getting everything they need? No. So, here comes the teacher part. Recall a time when you used a compensatory skill of a student and how did they use it? And if you haven't done it with a student in particular, then recall how a compensatory skill is used here at MSB, anywhere on campus. Think, pair, and share. I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay. Who's got an example of compensatory access? I want to hear those stories. Okay, Miss Sharita. Hold on, I'm coming.
So I would say, as a person who is visually impaired, Braille is our form of communication. And I will also say related services, if someone has sensory motor skills, they use occupational therapy.
Awesome. And as she's reading her Braille handouts right here, right? That's compensatory access. Who's got another example? Quiet. I want you to be comfortable with these skills because I want you to use them every day. Okay, I'm coming. Here we go. I'm skipping this one. Hold on. Who's first?
In our class, we actually speak louder to one of our students, but also slower.
Beautiful. And how would you know to do that? Because they're learning the assessment says they might be it that way, right? They might be accessing auditory, but not at a regular volume. Correct.
Switch access for communication.
Yes. Yay! Okay, now I'm getting excited because we're really talking about how people access. And she said a switch access for communication. So we might be able to say hello, but if we walk by a student that uses switch access and don't even give them the time to say hello to us because we haven't looked at the fact that they want to communicate with us through that switch, right? How many of us get in our modes where we're walking with our head down really busy, right? They've lost that opportunity to utilize a social skill. That's another one of our 9 areas, right? Use their switch for access, gaining access to communication. We've robbed them of that because they weren't able to use that switch, right? Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Sorry, I just heard about switches yesterday, so maybe you want to explain what it is.
Okay, show of hands. Who knows what a switch access is? Okay, so they are a piece of assistive technology. Man, I wish I had pictures. Yeah, they could range from small things to very large things. They could be buttons you press. They could be things that you access to a computer that have recorded messages along with them once they're hit. So they could be a total device that scrolls through and gives multiple options of what to say. It could be one thing of what to say. And so you might see a student with a switch on their tray on their wheelchair that they might have something to say there if they push, yes. And that's their mode of communication. And they use, wait a minute, what skill to touch that switch? Tactile skill, that's right. And so tactile skill doesn't have to necessarily be Braille, right? It could be a texture on that switch, right? They might not necessarily read Braille, but they might be able to tell the different switches by the texture on that. Yes, okay. One over here.
I would think for study and organization skills, their schedule systems that they use.
All right, there should be a schedule system hanging in every classroom or for every kid. How many of you use a schedule? Do you have a calendar? Yes. Do you have a calendar on your phone? Do you put your appointments in there? Do you give yourself reminders? So our students need to have the access to do that exact same thing, right? They want to know what's going on in their time. So schedule systems are so important. That might be a picture. Oh, wait a minute. Go back to sensory efficiency skill. It could be an object, right? Depending on their LMA. It could be a picture. It could be recorded. Yes? Okay. Are you feeling me now? So we got two. Like, think about the 2 areas just in using a schedule piece of the ECC, the 2 areas, right, that you're using just in the schedule piece. And if you haven't checked the LMA and you're giving them a picture and they can't interpret a picture, we haven't given them access, right? We really haven't given them access. Okay, so are you thinking about your students now? Are you thinking about things around the campus? And that's how I'm trying to get your brain to go. Did you have one?
Yes. I think for students who have like low vision can use large print.
Yes, large print, absolutely.
Sarah, can I just say something real quick about
Yeah.
schedules?
Yes.
Because Sarah's comment about schedules, a lot of times we'll hear people say, well, the student knows his schedule, therefore he doesn't need a schedule. Sorry, thank you. A lot of times we'll hear people say a student knows his schedule in his head, therefore he doesn't need his schedule. Right? If we took your calendar away for a week, would you feel a little lost? So I just ask you to think about that. Just because a student is really good at remembering some things, they need to have a way to know what to do on days that aren't so easy for them. So, anyway.
Correct, follow that up, right? My daughter had a doctor's appointment this morning, and I kept saying that to myself, doctor's appointment, doctor's appointment, doctor's appointment. But I was thinking about this presentation today, and 5 minutes before I needed to leave, I'm like, oh no, doctor's appointment. But good thing I had my schedule to tell me, right? I mean, and think about it, on our students' worst days when they're melting down, sometimes their schedule is their comfort, right? It's their comfort. It's what gets them through. It's the predictability, it's the one thing they know. Absolutely. Okay, great examples. Now you're thinking, okay, so now I'm challenging you. We've gone through 2 areas. When I ask you questions, I want you to see if you can infuse sensory skills and compensatory skills into the things that you're saying. Think about it that way. Okay. Self-determination. So, got your hand out for that? Got your hand out for that? I'm finding mine. All right. So this encompasses things like self-knowledge. Do you know your needs, wants, your abilities, and limitations? Let me give you a little aside on this one. This one's so important because as I get with my students in the high school age, all of them think that they're going to be social media influencers, right? And they think that this is going to be so easy, or they think they're going to be singers or basketball players, or I had one that wanted to be a doctor but didn't like blood. So wait a minute, do we know about ourselves? Do we know our abilities and limitations? So do we truly have a sense of our own self-knowledge? This is so important, right, as we go through those things. Awareness of individual rights and responsibilities. Capacity to make an informed decision. Not just a decision, an informed decision, right? Do they understand their choices? Do they have the reasonings behind their choices? Problem solving and goal setting. How many of you set a goal for yourself to do at least, like, I'm going to get this done today, right? That's goal setting. Yes. So our students need to be taught that. They need to see that they too can set a goal and accomplish it. Ability to engage in self-regulated and self-directed behavior. Ooh. Okay. If I'm having to wait and I'm throwing a tantrum about it, am I engaging in self-regulation? We as adults do that. How many of you throw a tantrum when you have to wait about something? How many of you have really had this excited attitude about being at this Friday afternoon presentation, right? I was reading your, I know, yes. I was reading your body language with your arms crossed as you came in, right? I was watching your self-regulated behaviors. But our students need to know, like, how can we change that? Right? Those are the things that he explicitly taught. We see people change your face, right? Change your face. That's one of the great things that I hear said all the time, change your face. But do our students know what that really means if they're not able to see a facial expression? Right? Okay. Self-advocacy and empowerment and assertiveness skills. So can they go up to someone on their own and advocate for what they need for their disabilities? I do a lot of the new employee orientations, and I had someone say to me that this was the first job they ever went to that asked them if they needed accommodations when they came in. Wow. Every single job should ask you if you need accommodations. But this was the first job, and they had 10 other ones. Do our students know that? Because they would feel more comfortable about advocating for what they need if that question was already asked instead of having to put it out there themselves, right? But are they aware that even exists? So this is the things that we get to teach them, right? Do you see why it's so exciting? Are you on with me now? Come on. Okay. So share an area of self-determination that would benefit a student at their school or workplace and why it would benefit them. All right, you got a couple minutes to think, pair, share.
so I'm working with her to like advocate for yourself. To be like, no, I can say passing on my left and then walk around them, because she's so scared to like speak up. So it's like advocating for yourself.
Yes, oh my gosh, that's a great example. Thank you. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Because in public school, I can guarantee you, did your student come from a public school recently? Maybe or no? Okay, well in public school, think about how crowded and busy the hallways are. One of my students that I've worked with for the last 4 years just came here and started MSB. And his first statement he said was, "The halls are so organized." He was so happy. He was like, everybody stays on the correct side of the hallway and I don't get run over. So think about it. He would never, in public school, because people were bumping him, tripping over his cane, hitting his backpack, he would never have asked for himself to say passing on the left. But teaching her that that's okay to do, what a beautiful example. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Anybody else got one? All right, here we go.
I think students attending their IEP meetings is a great way for them to self-advocate, say what they need, say what they don't need anymore.
Yes, I was hoping somebody would say that one. 100%. A lot of times parents don't want the kids to come. And then so how I work that is I say, okay, I know there may be some things that are hard that you don't want the student to hear or talk about, but can they come for a portion of the IEP so that they can understand their goals and objectives, so they can have a say, right? So it may not be the whole thing, but if they let them come to the whole thing, wonderful. But how beautiful can you learn about your accommodations? They're all listed there, right? The way you access things all listed there. The goals and objectives, they take an active role in it. Talk about being a part of your goals and objectives. They can say whether or not they agree that that's something good to work on. Huge, right? So yes, attending the IEP is one of the best ways for our students. So yes, all right, I'm going on to the next one because of my time. Social interaction skills. Okay, get your sheet. This is huge. Studies show that the #1 reason why our students do not keep a job post-graduation is because of their social skills. How many of you have close talker students that totally invade your personal space and talking really close to you? Well, we are used to that here, but in jobs, people don't appreciate that, and the public at large doesn't. So our students are seen as rude. How many of our students don't wait for a natural pause in the conversation and just start talking over everybody, right? Yes. And that's seen as rude. Yeah. So think about all those things. Okay, so this incorporates appropriate body language, social communication skills, effective communication patterns, waiting for someone to say something, knowing when you go into the library that you're supposed to be quiet versus gym class, a very different volume level, right? Okay. Social etiquette, cooperation skills, how to partake in a group activity, knowledge of self, and development of friendships. This is a really hard one for our guys. Okay. I'll say more about that in a minute. Share an example of a social skill needed when your students interact with others. Go ahead and think, pair, share.
when you are visually impaired, it's hard for students to look a person in the eye because a lot of times their head is down. And I was one of them. When I went to school, I had a habit of keeping my head down. And so my TDI had to remind me to look at her and to make eye contact. And it's so important because you need eye contact even when you go to job interviews.
Yes, what a great example. Great example. Right? If you, how many of our students, because they're listening, right? They're using that sensory efficiency skill, that other way of access. They're listening, they're hanging their head down and listening. But someone might see that as rude when their head's not up, right? Talking to them, or they might not even know they're talking to them because they're not looking in their direction, right? Now, I say all that. If there's other impairments such as autism and things like that, we don't force, right? So we're just, take all the pieces of the student in and their disabilities, not just one. I don't want you to provide access to just the visual impairment, to all of them, okay? So I say that with that little caveat. Yes, Ms. Becky.
I was just saying with standing in line for the lunch line, some kids kind of don't realize they're not, and others go and grab the tray and just go for whoever did it.
Yes, social skill of waiting in a line, absolutely, 100%. I actually had a student say to me on a lesson that they didn't need to stand in line because whenever they go in the store, everybody lets them get up front. Yes, I kid you not. And he said, I didn't even have to have the correct money because people pay for mine all the time. Can you believe it? Yes. I was like, no. On my lessons, you're going to. Okay. Independent living skills. Woo! This is the one area of the ECC that most people know. Okay? So this is your personal hygiene and grooming, shaving, all those kinds of things. Dressing and clothing care. How to pick out your outfits, what's cool, what's not. Time management, eating and cooking, money management, cleaning and household chores, telephone use and organization. Okay. How many of you got dressed this morning? Did you pick out your clothes yourself? Over half of my students, their parents pick out their clothes for them. Why? Because they don't know what color things are and they don't know how things match. That's our job to help them learn how to do that, right? Yes. Say yes. Get excited about it. Okay. So, what independent living skill in that list would your student benefit from? Think about this. The students are going to leave us. They're leaving MSP. They need so many of them. But just think about your student or a student you know walking in the hallways. What independent living skill could they really benefit from that they don't have? Go ahead and think, fair share. I want to go try. Yeah, okay. Sure, I would. This one. Yeah, I just have. I don't have many left. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you the first one, and I'm going to tell them myself. Because I learn the most when I make a mistake. So I taught students in the summer one time, independent living skills, cooking, right? And so one of my students, I'm going to use the area of independent living skills called time management. He put a taquito in the microwave for 6 minutes, not 60 seconds. He had no concept of 60 seconds versus 6 minutes. Well, guess what happened to that taquito and the plastic plate in the microwave? We had a visit from the fire department. Yes, we did, because it caught on fire. And that lack of concept of time management, understanding what 60 seconds is versus 6 minutes, was important not just for cooking, but for turning in things on time, right? For being on time to class. Oh, my students out in the public schools, we get a pass, we don't have to be on time. They let us leave early or come late, right? Is that how jobs work? That's what I always say to them. Well, that's not how jobs work, so you're going to be on time. So think about that, okay? Who's got an example of an independent living skill? I'm counting.
For people who are close to graduating, they need money and so.
Yes, 100%. All of a sudden, when you magically graduate, you know how to handle a budget, pay all your bills, right? It just happens. Absolutely. Wait a minute. Okay, let's think about money. Let's think about money. How are our students accessing money? Are they doing it tactually? Do they have an app, technology, a bill reader? Okay. Think about all the areas of the ECC that are going into just that money and budgeting, right? Okay. Oh, sure, absolutely. Okay. So they were saying a budget. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. Next area of the ECC. Rec and leisure. Get that out. Okay, so rec and leisure. This includes play, physical activities, health and fitness, sports, team and spectator sports, as well as leisure activities and hobbies. How many of you have a hobby? Yes, how many of you have recreational activities you do outside of MSB? Okay. All of us get stressed and need a way for an outlet. Are we providing our students with the same types of outlets that we have, that we enjoy, right? So sometimes those hobbies or skills or sports might lead to something more. I had a student whose hobby, right, she learned to crochet. And she started making things and she sells them and she makes a ton of money doing it. But it's this hobby that she enjoyed that ended up becoming a skill that she was able to use to make money. So see how important those are? Yes? How many of you, when you go into the gym, you look around at how to use the equipment because you're not going to ask a question. You watch somebody else do it, right? Totally guilty. But if you can't look around and ask how to use the equipment, what skills might you need to be able to access that equipment? Social skill, I heard it over here. Good. Now you're thinking in terms of the ECC, self-determination, right? Okay, I heard it somewhere over here. Yes, yes, yes. And that's just part of rec and leisure, so we had to have these other skills to gain access to the community first. Are we giving those here? Do we know what our students need? Are we giving them the access and then helping them to get out into the community through rec and leisure, right? Okay. Here we go. Are you ready for your question? Share how rec and leisure is important to our students. Go ahead. Very good. Get in there. You just have 3. Okay. I know you have to have an example of recommendation here. Okay. Oh, here.
I was just saying that with our sports, our students get to travel and meet other kids from other schools.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Look, she gave one example of our sports here at MSD. So now, they're traveling, so they're using our orientation mobility skills. They're meeting other teams, so they're using social skills. They have to travel maybe on a bus or a plane or a train. We've done all of the above with our students here. So they're using self-determination skills, time management skills. Are you seeing all the areas that we're using in just one activity, but if they haven't been taught, imagine taking a student that's had 0 lessons on self-determination, on time management, on a plane trip. Imagine how successful that would be if we didn't provide them with those skills, right? That's why they put out the email that says, is your student capable and able to go on these trips, right? Or do you approve them to go on these sporting things? Because I've been leading some of those trips with students that didn't have those. Guess what? We had a piece of luggage that rode a train to another state. Yes, we did. We had a piece of luggage because they weren't self-determined, because guess what? My dorm staff always carried my luggage for me down to the bus stop. Uh-oh, I didn't get a nerve, did I? But it made me think. I didn't think about it until then. They were like, why did I have to pick up my suitcase? It's always at the bus stop for me. Uh-oh. Yep, you're right. Mom puts it on the bus for me in the morning. So that's why that suitcase rode to another state. Yes. So see if we're not teaching all these skills, right? Just in sports, all those other skills, those access skills, those self-determination skills, all the areas of the ECC that apply in all of those activities come back, and they determine whether or not our students are successful. They're not going to pick these things up by just watching somebody. We have to be a part of teaching them. I see a hand up over here. I'm running.
Think about how long it can take to develop a like for a skill, and even for someone that has maybe averaging processing speed, that it can take a long time to get into a book or learn a new game or something like that. And so you think about our students, they might need multiple repetitions, not forcing them to do something, but just multiple exposures to something before they'll even begin to develop kind of a familiarity with it that could lead them to enjoy and enjoy it.
Absolutely, that's a great point. Because repetition or familiarity might be one of the things that provides access for our students, depending on their other areas of disability, correct? So, absolutely. Great point. Okay. You guys are becoming ECC superstars, right? You're starting to recognize it now. Okay. Assistive technology. So when everybody thinks assistive technology, I automatically think phone, computers, but I want you to think in terms of high and low tech, because a schedule system is really assistive technology that pieces itself. That's just low tech. Or an object symbol calendar or a choice bucket, that's communication. It's a low tech assistive technology. So sometimes we always think up here, but I don't want you to think up here because not everybody's using a computer and apps. And like I tell my students, computers are great until one day a squirrel bit the cords at school and nobody had power, so we had no assistive technology, so how was that working out, right? So, okay, so it's access to information and content, communication, and personal productivity. Think about how you use low-tech paper and pen to get things done, and high-tech typing to get things done. That's your personal productivity, right? How are our students doing that with assistive technology? Think about it in terms of that way, their productivity and what they do in a day. Are they able to use something to get something done? Right? Okay. How could you use assistive technology more in your daily activities or interactions or lessons with your students? Ooh, this is a challenging one. Think, pair, share.
This one. This one I think is all right. We'll get there. Great.
Okay. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you got. How could you use it more? We talked earlier about that student you walked by with your head down and had the switch on their wheelchair and you didn't let them say hi, right? That's one way you could stop and use assistive technology more. Paying attention to who has a switch on their wheelchair and maybe what that switch is for. So instead of walking right by them with your head held down, letting them use that switch, right? Okay. Who's got another one? I see a hand. I see a hand. Okay.
You're right, but we have a student that has a felt board with a yes or no on it.
Yes, 100%. Okay, a felt board with a yes or a no. Okay, I want to. Ooh, that's a good one. I want to stop right there. I'm gonna park on that one for 1 second. How many times do you think you know your student's facial or body expression and don't let them actually pick up that yes or no card? How many times do we think we know our students' facial expressions or body language and don't let them actually pick up that card or give them a question and give them enough time to respond by picking that card? All the time. I'm totally guilty, right? You gotta rush to the next thing in the lesson. Oh, she says yes. I can see by her smile, right? Wait, it's true. I know she smiled at that. It's a yes, right? But she could be, like you all are, thinking about something else and smiling, but really you're not answering the question that you just asked. Yes. So low tech 100% is giving that felt board with a yes or no. Yes, I love it. Go ahead.
I would say sign language for the hearing impaired. They have to use their hands and it takes time to sign.
Absolutely. So she said sign language. Yes. I guess a human is really high-tech technology. I mean, even the interpreter before we started told me that I needed to talk slower. Yep, I'm guilty of fast talking. So she might have to sign a little faster for me, or might miss something that she had to sign because I talk so fast. I'm totally guilty. Right. I know. Who else has an example of assistive technology? Okay, one over here.
We use the devices, I guess they're the augmented devices, either in cooking, when we use the switch and it hits, hit the switch and it pours the stuff, and it also has one that you can hit the switch and mix up the things for them.
So could you hear? So it was assistive technology to pour or to mix, okay, that have switches tied to it. I mean, how many of you get behind in a lesson and say, oh, just let me mix that up for you, right? Let me mix it up for you. Then think about all the skills that they just lost because we wanted to save time. They didn't get access to their technology. They didn't get to use their compensatory skills to touch that switch. They didn't get to use their self-determination to make a choice on whether or not they wanted to touch that switch. They didn't get to compete to be a part of rec and leisure. What if cooking becomes the activity that they love to do in their spare time? Right? So that's why I want to change the way you think about the ECC because, again, that's what makes MSP so special. We're the only ones that get to directly and explicitly teach these skills anywhere. And that's why it's so exciting. Okay. 2 areas left. Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay. Orientation and mobility. This is the one that everybody knows, right? We got a whole team that does that. I don't have to do that, right? A whole team. Okay. So body concepts. Do they know where their knees are versus their elbows? Spatial concepts. How far something is away. How big something is. Environmental concepts. The difference between a bathroom and a kitchen. Perceptual and sensory skills, mobility skills. What am I going to choose to get from here and there? Am I going to walk? Am I going to drive, ride the bus, take a plane? Orientation skills. Do I know when to turn left versus right? Okay, how long am I going to walk on this path? Interpersonal skills. So if I get lost, can I stop and ask for directions? Okay. Hey, wait, that's self-determination. Can I actually ask? We have to know that first in order to know what questions to ask, right? And decision-making skills. Can I make a decision when I get somewhere and I smell something that's not what I normally smell? Do I keep going this way? Right? But if we hadn't worked on all those things prior to that, how is that O&M person going to get them to where they need to go? Right? Okay. What area of O&M have you used or taught to a student? Think, fair share.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I'll tell myself again because I love to tell myself on these, right? when I was a TBI here in the classroom, I would take my students on a field trip, and I would walk them out to the front of the building and shove them all in the van, right? And just shove them all in the van. Well, then I went back to school years later and I learned orientation mobility, and I learned that you're actually supposed to familiarize a person with the vehicle that they're in before they get in it. I didn't know that. I was shoving them in the van. They had no idea how big the seats were, how big the vehicle was, what it sounded like, how many passengers were in it, how fast it went, and this would help them when they were on the street corner to realize, what is this passing me? It's a van. They go slower than cars. I need to wait longer. But I didn't teach them that, right? I just shoved them all in and said, let's go. And look how many concepts I missed, right? I missed the amount of doors, how long it was, how fast it went, how many people were in it, how did this determine its speed, right? The shape of it. So I missed all those concepts because I wasn't teaching them. Because I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, get in the van, let's go, right? But if we stopped and took the time, all those different pieces would come together. So there you go, I told them myself. Who's got another example of orientation? All right, that's Maggie.
We have those breakfast stands that are outside our house, so then where the bathrooms are and where you stand, there's another one. So I promised students that this is the first one. When you get your second one, square off and you're at your bathroom.
Exactly, there you go. Okay, so she used breakfast stands. What sensory efficiency skill might you use at a breakfast stand, right? To know where you are, right? Exactly, or your cane's gonna hit it, it might sound different. So she used the number of breakfast stands and where they were positioned to tell their student where to go. Beautiful. Did she have to be an O&M to do that? No. Nope. Did she have to even be a TBI? No. Nope. See how you get to share all these amazing skills with your students? I know, you're just gonna love it. Okay, career ed. So this is career awareness, career exploration, career preparation, and career placement. So think about how many jobs you see over the course of a TV show and a commercial. Right? How many jobs are going on in the background of TV shows and commercials that our students are never exposed to? They have no idea they can even be. They're limited to the people around them who tell them about the jobs that they do. So what do our students know? Teachers, social media influencers, nurses, right? That's the people that they know, right? So if they're not getting this information from us explicitly taught, then how will they know their options? So, what aspect of your job, or any job, could you share with a student to help them gain some career knowledge? Think, pair, share. Hey, I'm rushing through this one because I'm behind on time. My timekeeper's getting me. Miss Becky's going to share. Are you ready?
These are our students bringing their own costume. They have their
Okay, so she was saying that their students get their breakfast in the morning, they bust their own tables and put it away. And they could talk about how that relates to a job skill in a restaurant. Bussing tables, right? It's already something that you're already doing, and they're tying it to a career knowledge. 100%. Our students may not know what happens behind the scenes in a restaurant. Have they ever been back there? Do they know what happens? No. They sit down at a table and somebody puts their dishes in front of them, right? Okay, here we go.
I was just thinking about what you said about the kids wanting to be YouTubers, and that is such a hard conversation that we have to have with so many kids. They're filling out their dream sheets and they want to be a veterinarian, or they want to be a doctor, or they want to be a YouTuber, and it's hard to have these conversations with them and not wanting to take the place of a parent and just trying to be more realistic with them. Maybe you can do that on the side, maybe you can do that part-time. But you really should think about getting something that will give you money every, you know.
I love this example, because remember in the beginning, I talked, okay, so she said our students want to be YouTubers. YouTubers, right? And we have to have this hard conversation with them where they might not make money doing that. But let's stop. Remember I told you about Swiss cheese kids, right? So that's why you get a YouTuber that thinks a realistic job for them is a kid that thinks YouTubing is a realistic job. Because they didn't learn in self-determination their own abilities and limitations. And then they also didn't have the career aspect. So what I say is to my students, they learned, like I had a student who wanted to be a pilot. I taught them their visual acuity. And then when they said they wanted to be a pilot, I said, hey, I need you to research what is the visual acuity needed to be a pilot in the Air Force. I didn't have to tell them that it was a job that they couldn't do. They researched it themselves and came back to me and said, I think I have to switch careers. My eyesight's not good enough to be a pilot. But I didn't have to have that conversation with them because I taught them their abilities and limitations through self-determination in the beginning. So when you have Swiss cheese kids and these access skills in the beginning aren't taught, the important skills to gain access aren't taught, then we have the kids with the unrealistic expectations for what to have as a job, and then you have to have the hard conversations, or parents have to have the hard conversations. But if we are giving them those skills, we're providing them with those areas of the ECC, then they can get more realistic futures, right? Okay, so now you see why I'm so excited? Yes? 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 Okay, hold on. Yes, Ms. Jane?
I just want to say something really quick. You know, when Miss Carol Lease was here and she worked with the kids, and we used to have them come in the kitchen, and Brandon, he worked in the kitchen, and Brandon works in the kitchen now, and he was a student here. And you know, I'm just saying this, and Brandon probably would do it, if anybody ever needed him to come and talk to the kids, because he would be a perfect person to talk to these kids about working and having a job. And I must say this, he is the best dishwasher we have, and you wouldn't even know, about his disabilities. He's awesome.
There you go, because he had exposure as a kid, right? Here in OSB, to a possible career opportunity. Good job. Great example. Okay, so who is responsible for teaching the ECC? Everyone. I hope you got that right on your pre-test. If you didn't on your post-test, I hope you do. Because does it take a TBI to know right and left? No. Does it take a TBI to talk about the different aspects of a job? No. Does it take a TBI to help set up a schedule? Does it take an orientation and mobility specialist to talk about the sound your cane makes when it hits the wall? No. You guys are going to be ECC specialists. That's what you're here for, right? Okay. So everybody from nutrition services to maintenance can teach the ECC and expose our kids to the ECC if they're not teaching it directly by having the appropriate interactions with them, right? Allowing them to use their assisted technology, allowing them to make choices, allowing them to self-advocate and be self-determined, right? Okay. Are you on board? So now let's get really excited. Okay. So you too can include the ECC. Are you ready to try? All right. Well, my plan is to take a simple everyday routine that everybody can do. Get out the sheet if you're washing your hands. Okay? We are going to look at this and see how many areas of the ECC we can include into washing our hands just in this one routine. But here's the twist. I want you to think about it in terms of this student. So we're going to put up a student here. So I want you to think about this student in mind as we do this. So this student, hold on a second. It's coming. Right here, is 11 years old. They have retinal dystrophy and optic nerve hypoplasia. Their functional vision assessment, remember I told you to look for that in learning media assessment, says they have light perception only, which means they can only see light. Visually responded when the light's turned on and off. Okay? And then the learning media says that auditory is their primary access channel, okay? And tactile is their secondary mode. So first they gotta hear it, then they gotta feel it. Other, they're in a wheelchair for mobility. And they use object symbols and single switches in their daily activities. They get OTPT, speech, and assistive technology services. All right, so you're gonna look at each, we're going to do this one together. I want you to think about this. And then you're going to get to do one on your own. Okay, so we're going to do this one together. I want you to think about this student as we look at the steps of hand washing. Okay, so let's look at step 1. Turn on the warm water. What areas of the ECC are we using in turning on warm water? Anybody? Okay,
Spatial awareness and left and right, so when I can distinguish which side the hot is on.
woo! She gets candy. Okay, did you hear? Spatial awareness. What side of the faucet is hot and what side is cold? Okay? Right? So we have to turn, we just said warm water. How are they going to know? They have to have spatial awareness to know sides. Okay. Who else? Give me another one.
Sensory?
Yes. Why? Why sensory? Why sensory skill? What part of sensory skill? I'm asking you all. It's the correct answer. Do you know? Touch, that's right. They're touching those faucet handles. They gotta know, what does a faucet handle feel like? If we haven't told them that they haven't experienced it, how would they know? How many of you have sent your kids into the bathroom on a field trip that's unfamiliar? Whoops, if they don't have these concepts, how are they knowing where that's at? Yeah, okay. Any other areas? Yes?
Self-determination.
Self-determination. Am I going to wash my hands? You are 100% correct. Am I actually going to turn on this water? Yes or no? Actually, do I want it warm? I was hoping somebody would say self-determination. Do I want warm water? I said warm, but do they want it warm? Maybe they want to wash their hands with cold water or hot water. Right? Self-determination. Beautiful. Now you're getting it. 3 areas, 1 step. But I'm going to catch you before. I want you to think about this. This kid's in a wheelchair. We just rolled him in and rolled him up to the sink and gave them no awareness of where anything was in the bathroom. A kid in a wheelchair never touches a single space of their environment. How do they have any idea of any environmental concepts? Think. This is what I want you to think about. This is how I learned, is by doing it wrong, right? So you wheel them up to the sink, but they have no idea how many toilets are in there, how many sinks are in there. What does the wall feel like in the bathroom versus other areas of the school if we've never let them touch it? Because I can tell you that tile sounds very different than other areas, but if we don't give them that exposure and build those concepts into them, we just push them right up to the sink and don't take the time to explore that. How many of you in the classroom on the first day let them explore the classroom? Or you just walked up to their desk and sat them down? I'm guilty of it. Totally guilty of walking my students to their desk and sitting them straight down. But then we wonder why they have behaviors, because this is a brand new classroom. They have no idea what's there, right? They're smelling some different smells. Maybe the people wear different perfumes than they're used to, right? But we've explored none of those things. Okay. So think about those parts of the ECC as we move on to the next steps. So the next step, step number 2. Oh, you can go back to, yeah. Step number 2 is wet your hands. What areas of the ECC are we using? Wet your hands. What areas are we using? This is just from step 1. I'm showing you the example of step 1. Okay. Wet your hands. What would you use?
Sensory.
Sensory, that's right. Tactile skills, and what does water feel like? Wet versus dry, right? Wet versus dry, that's a big concept. It helps on rainy days, helps on other things, right? If you're watering plants, those kinds of things. Okay. So tactile function, and then compensatory skills, concept development, right? So think about now, you've used just hand washing. How would wet versus dry work for morning routine and calendar skills? How would that concept development work? Yes, weather. There we go. I saw it on her mouth. She said weather. So we're using those skills when we're building, right? So that's why we're not having the Swiss cheese skills, because we're tying them in with everything we do. Every routine in the classroom. Okay. Step 3. I'm not putting it up yet. Turn off the water. What you got? Oh, hit it. Sorry. Oh, it wasn't me. All right. Sensory efficiency. Again, tactile skills. What's this? On versus off. Come on. Which one is that under? Concept development, or also environmental and spatial skills, right? Forward versus back. Apply that concept to our kids in the wheelchair, learning to move forward versus back. right? Look how many skills are just in turning on and turning off water. That's right, some are up, some are down. Beautiful, I'm glad you said that. I was hoping somebody would. Not all sinks are the same. So now we're going to take a sink hunt around MSB and explore all the different sinks, right? We're going to turn on, turn off. Look at hot, look at cold, how fast they come out, what they sound like, what the sink feels like. Think about all the different concepts you can build in just washing your hands in the different places at MSB. Okay. 4, get soap. Are you seeing them? Sensory efficiency, tactile function. Okay, here's my telling myself example. Get soap. I made a kid use the bathroom soap all the time. And one day he said, I hate that soap. It makes my hands itch. And it stressed him out and he was having behaviors over it. Never asked him, self-determination, what kind of soap do you want to use? Do you like the smell of that soap? Do you like the feel of that soap? Some kids might want a bar soap versus the foam versus the liquid or gel. Have we even taken time to explore those choices? Right? Are we thinking now? Are you thinking? Look at all the Swiss cheese concepts. Yes, I got a question back there. Oops, I'm getting to you.
I was just going to vote that we put independent living, personal hygiene, because a lot of my students don't even want to use soap.
Yes, I love it. I was hoping. I didn't put all of them on there. I was giving direction here. You're 100% correct. Independent living, personal hygiene, he said. My students don't even want to use soap. But did you explore why they don't want to use soap? It could be like my student said. I was forcing him to use the soap he didn't like. One student said, the school always buys that cheap Irish Spring. It stinks. Had no idea he hated the smell of Irish Spring. That's why he didn't want to use it, right? I looked under his bed. He had like 12 bars hidden because they kept giving him more, and he didn't want to use that soap. So seriously, like, are we giving them the self-determination to make those choices? Are we exploring through sensory efficiency the different types, bar versus liquid versus foam? Because I have a student that just likes foam soap. That's it. Boom. Have we given them the choices? Have we looked at that? Have we had lessons on those concepts? Because we rush through, go wash your hands, quick, and then we take their hands and we rub the soap in there and we dry them off for them, right? If they don't want to do it. Okay. All right. O&M environmental concepts. Where on the wall does the soap go? Is it in the same place on every bathroom? Nope. Is it in a plastic container in every bathroom? Nope. Is it pump or pull or push, right? Look at all the concepts. Are you seeing it now? Okay. Are you ready to infuse them in all the things that you do for our students? You ready? Okay. When I started looking at the ECC like this, I started thinking, I'm already teaching the ECC, but just parts, or rushing through it, or not giving them every piece. When I started looking at it like this, how I can infuse it into every routine I do in every day, then I'm preventing those Swiss cheese kids later on. So step 5, scrubbing hands for 20 seconds. There you go. I put it up there, 20 seconds, because what if it's not the whole ABC songs, you didn't get all the germs off, right? If you did it quicker. But that goes back to time management. That 60-second taquito, right? We would understand if we had a 60-second hand washing routine, we would know how long the taquito should have been in the oven, microwave oven. But I didn't look at that, did I? Nope. Are you tracking with me? Yes, yes, okay. Rec and leisure, yes. Health and personal health is a part of rec and leisure. So if our hands are dirty and we don't scrub them, or we might not be able to socially serve people food in our house. I've had to say to my students, you licked that spoon 3 times, I'm not eating it. Right? You can do that when you're at home on your own, but you can't serve me that. They're like, I can't wait to do this, Miss Sarah. No, not so much, not even that. But I had to teach that skill, right? Okay. Turning on the warm water and rinsing off the soap. Tactile function, right? Is the soap still on there? Have you checked kids' hands? How many kids walk back with soap bubbles still on their hands? Do they really have the concept down of rinsing it off if the soap is still there? Compensatory skills and concept development again. Clean versus not clean, rinsed versus not rinsed, right? Okay. Environmental concepts, again, we're going back to the sink. All right, I'm rushing through this one. Dry hands with a paper towel. Who's got me on this one? We're looking at sensory efficiency tactile function. MSB uses those nasty, hard, brown paper towels. How many of our students that it upsets them when we rub their hands with that? Right? Yes? What if they just want to use a dish towel instead to dry their hands off? Because that's what they use at home for their hand washing routine. Have we asked parents what soap, paper towel, temperature of water they do at home? We tell parents all the time, we want you to use our routines at home. Don't we tell them that? But have we asked parents what they're already using in their routines and us incorporating it so it's the same there? Maybe some of the behaviors we get are because we're using different type of paper towels. Yes? Who's shaking their head? I see a couple. Okay. Turning off water using a paper towel. How many of our kids don't use a paper towel to turn off the water, but they use their same dirty hands to turn it on? A lot of adults don't do it either, but you know. That's again social etiquette. Another thing we can part of the ECC we talk about. Compensatory skills and environmental skills. Okay. Who's got a tally of how many skills we're at for this one? We're at step 8. Step 9, throw away paper towel in the trash. Uh-oh, where's the trash can? What area of the ECC are we using for finding the trash can? Spatial awareness, concept development. Yep, are you getting with me? What else can you use to find the trash can? If you're tapping on things, the auditory sound. Plastic trash can sounds different than a metal trash can, right? Self-directed behavior. How many kids just drop it right there? Versus go to the trash can. Yes? Oh, we're going to hand over. Hold on, go ahead.
I was just going to say, would that also be social skills? Like, other people will get upset if you don't throw your trash out.
Exactly. Talking about social etiquette, where you throw your trash. That was what you were going to say? Absolutely, she got it. Social etiquette. So yes, do we throw our trash away in the trash can or do we drop it on the ground? Do we put it on the shelf at the grocery store as we walk past, right? Come on. I've seen it. You've seen it. Okay. All right, so you just incorporated washing hands, big part of hygiene. Here's where we go. I'm going to get you AT. Did I use any AT in that routine I just did with you? Any assistive technology? Did I use any yes, no's? Did I use any switches? I told you I just took this kid with a wheelchair, shoved them up to the sink, and washed their hands. Now, you did great using 7 of the 9 areas of the ECC. But I forgot AT. Remember I told you I wanted you to think about that? Did I ask them before they even started their hand washing routine, are you ready to wash your hands? Not do you want to, are you ready to wash your hands? Right? With a yes, no? Or did I say, what kind of soap did you want to use? So see how you can infuse assistive technology a little bit more into all the areas? Are you with me? Okay. So imagine all the ways the ECC can be integrated. Now it's going to be your turn. So you're going to look at riding the bus. This is blurry, I don't know why, but we're getting ready to pass them out to you. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to split the group into the first 3 rows and the last 3 rows. You're going to get a type of kid in a packet with this routine and steps. You are now going to use these papers of the ECC to infuse the ECC into the steps of this waiting for the bus routine. Okay, so I'm going to read the steps out loud. You're going to walk to the bus area. You're going to wait for the bus to come. You're going to wait for the bus door to open. You're going to get on the bus, find an empty seat, sit down, wait quietly for your stop, and get off. Now you, based on your scenario and your kid, the first 3 rows are going to use kid, I think it's student number 2, and the last 3 rows are going to use student number 3, front to back. You're going to work at your tables to infuse the ECC into these steps. So when you leave today, you already have hand washing ECC infused. Now you're going to have waiting in line for the bus, how you can infuse the ECC into it. Any questions at all during any of the time, raise your hand. Yeah, you did. This is I guess they are. Yeah, they are. But they're not for Sharia. It's okay. sure you're referring back to your handouts. That's why I want you to use them. Make absolute use of it.
Do you want to just do riding the bus? One half of the room, just what time is it? We have 20 minutes. Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay. Sorry. So the front of the room is going to do riding the bus, student 2. Well, and the back of the room is going to do riding the bus, student 3. I'll give you a bonus routine to take home with you. We're running short on time. We were going to do 2 routines, and you guys get to do it as homework, right? There is water or snacks on the side if you need it, if you're struggling. Okay, just for clarification again. First 3 rows, student number 2. Last 3 rows, student number 3. All of you are doing riding the bus, waiting the bus routine. It's okay to be wrong, because I learned the most by being wrong. Remember I told you about my student who had the fire department come with the taquito? In the same program, I had a student who didn't put the shower curtain in the tub when he took a shower, and I had a flood. We flooded the bathroom. He didn't feel in front of versus behind spatial concept where the shower curtain was. Well, guess what? It was because it was the first time he stayed in the independent living houses, and in the dorms, the showers don't have curtains like that, right? So I didn't take him to, just like the sink walk, the shower walk, right? To see the different types of showers and shower curtains and what used, because at his house, it's sliding glass doors. So he had never had to put a shower curtain on the inside of the tub. He put it on the outside, and the brand new hardwood floors got flooded. I learned the most from my students by making mistakes, so you too can make mistakes. It's okay. All right, so let's look at our students here in our routine for riding on the bus. So walking to the bus area, student number 2. We're walking to the bus area. What areas of the ECC do we use walking to the bus area? O&M. That's right, O&M. How are we getting there? What's the route, right? Okay, beautiful. I'm going to tell you my favorite answer I just got a few minutes ago. How many of you put career ed on your list? Somebody just said to me, hey, with this routine, you could sit them behind the bus driver and they could ask what a bus driver does for the job. I didn't even have that one on mine. I didn't have it on mine, yep. But you could sit your student behind the bus driver and they could talk about what does a bus driver do? What skills do you need? What qualifications, right? Okay. So think about it. Career ed just got infused into the riding the bus routine. All right, so we're still at walking to the bus area. What other skills do you need for walking to the bus area?
I would say recon leisure because it's physical activity.
Okay, so she said rec and leisure. How far can you walk? That's right. What if you're coming from the dorms all the way down to the bus area? Do you need to get a ride? Are you capable enough? Yeah, I like it. I like it.
The social interaction skills.
Yes! Meet me at the bus stop after school! How many times have you given your student an opportunity to do that? Social skills, wait at the bus stop together, meet each other up. Guess what? They could use technology to write each other a note, right? Send it to a text message or an email. Yep, hold on.
Depending where they are on campus, they'll have to have time management to get to the bus.
Yes, time management to get to the bus on time, depending where they are on campus. Yes. What about sensory efficiency skill? How will you know you're at the bus area? I bet you can smell that fumes or that exhaust. You can hear the engines revving, right? Sensory efficiency skills. Are we using those skills? All right. Student 3 in the back, do you guys have any different ones? Yep, I got a hand raised. Sorry, I'm trying to get back there. I should just wait in the middle for this one. There we go.
Either self-determination to know that you need sunglasses or the communication skills to ask.
Woo! That's an A+ answer. Self-determination, because we're going outside. Do I need to put my sunglasses on? Do I want to wear sunglasses? Or to ask for a pair of sunglasses outside? Right? Yes, I love that. Okay. Step 2, waiting for the bus to come. Who wants to share? What areas of the ECC we got? Self-determination. Am I going to wait for this bus? Because I got students who don't want to go home that are going to sit on the floor in my classroom and have a tantrum because they don't want to go home. And that's their self-determination to tell me I don't want to ride this bus, right? I used to have Friday bus duty when I was here at MSB. I had a student who was stripped every Friday waiting for the bus to come, totally naked because they didn't want to go home. Yep, okay. Who's got another one? Social interaction skills, yes. Waiting for the bus to come, you're standing in line. We talked about that, right? What's the social appropriate, how close do you stand to the person? Yep, what's that appropriate body language while waiting? Yes. What about noises you make while waiting?
Efficiency skills. While you're waiting, you can listen for the bus to come. Like you say, smell the diesel and all that when the bus pulls up.
100%, you're right, sensory efficiency skills. Can you hear when the bus pulls up? Can you smell the exhaust? Yep. All right, so next step. Anybody in the back have any different ones that I missed? Raise your hand, don't be shy, don't be shy. Okay, because we want to cover them all. We want to get all the areas of the ECC in. Okay, what was that, my alarm? Okay, we're waiting for the bus doors to open. What skills we got there? Who's got a hand raised? I got one. Come on right.
Well, so they were in a wheelchair, so I thought somehow see if they ramp or anything like that, they would have to get on the bus.
Yes, how many of us just take those kids in a wheelchair and just start pushing them up to the back of the bus? Right? Mm-hmm. Have we asked them, are they ready to get on board? Man, and that could be assistive technology. There's your yes-no board again. Are you ready to get on board? Now you've just infused assistive technology and self-determination in asking them if they're ready to get on board. Maybe they're not. Maybe they wanted to stay with that friend one more minute or listen to one more song, right? But we never even gave them the choice. Great answer. Great answer. See why I love the ECC? Come on.
Also, with the technology, if a student does use a device or any sort of alternate communication, that this is a great opportunity to be modeling how they can talk, talk with their friends, or even talk about waiting for the bus, or talk about the bus, or just all those different things that they might not, have access to that vocabulary yet, but it's a good time to do that.
100%. 100%. Hey, remember I told you that story about shoving all my students in the van? How many of us shove all our students in the bus and put them in the same seat and they have no idea how many seats are on the bus, how long the bus is, what color the bus is? Well, come on, I'm telling them myself, right? I've done it before. 100%. The kid in the wheelchair, right? They get put on the ramp, they get wheeled up, they get strapped in. No concept of what they're in whatsoever. They could be inside a spaceship and they would have no idea, right? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Any more for getting on waiting for the door to open? How do we know the door's open? That's right. Have we listened to do we know what the sound of a bus door opening even is? Maybe that's scary for some of our kids. I have a kid that I have to play every noise in advance. I record it, I play it very soft, and then I gradually get it louder because he has a total meltdown with any new noise. It's scary to him. He has no vision whatsoever. He has no idea what those sounds are. So I label the sound. Guess what? This is the sound of the bus door opening. We're going to do it quiet. And then I get it louder, a little bit louder. This is what it's going to sound like when you're standing right next to it. So he knows when he's standing right next to it what that sound sounds like, right? Yes. But maybe that's why some of our kids are having meltdown because we shove them right up to the door, open it up, they have no idea what that sound is, we haven't labeled it or told them it's a concept they don't even know, and that's scary. Or maybe they don't like the screeching sound, right? Okay. Getting on the bus. What skills do we need there from ACC?
I would say using their assistive technology to greet the attendant and social skills. This is what we do. We say hello, how are you?
Yes. 100%. Nobody even talked about greeting the attendant or the attendant greeting them, right? A social reciprocal exchange, 100%. Because if they're going to go ride a public bus, right? But we're not teaching them to do that with a regular bus driver? Okay. See how these skills make us Swiss cheese kids if we don't teach them? Who's got another one for getting on the bus?
Spatial one.
Yes! Okay, I'm going to repeat for her. She said spatial, but I want to talk about steps. Are all steps the same? Are bus steps like the steps here in the hallways? Nope. Totally different, totally higher. Have we gone on a step hunt and talked about the different types of steps? What about the treads on the bottom of the step? Do they feel the same? Right? No, they don't. What about where hand railings are placed? All those spatial concepts, right? Okay, think about them. Again, when you're walking up and down the steps, where's the railing? What is it made of metal? Is it covered in tape? Because it might be. What's those things on it, right? Yes. Different kinds of lifts, 100%. Yep. Okay. Find an empty seat. So everybody says O&M for this because there's an O&M way to see the seats empty, right? You put your hand on the back of the chair and feel. And I have a great story about that, teaching an O&M lesson on the bus. A child in Baltimore City didn't feel and sat in a pile of urine. Yep, someone was sitting in the seat and wet themselves, and then my students sat right in it because they didn't check if it was clear. Yep, I learned by doing things wrong too, so did my students. So finding an empty seat. So that is an O&M concept of how to sweep down and see if the seat's empty. But what if you touch somebody in the seat? How do you handle that? Social interactions, but have we taught them how to say, excuse me, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you? Have we taught them that? And that's social interaction, right? Yep. How to have a conversation about that? How to be self-determined to ask, is this seat empty? Right? Can I sit here? Yep. Is there assistive technology they could use to do that?
Maybe a nonverbal person, you can ask them, is this space a place you want to, I don't know, on the bus, maybe there's 2 different spots where they can get buckled in a wheelchair?
Think about that. She said, is this the space you want to sit? Because what if the air conditioning is better in one place or the other? What if the sound of the engine's louder in one place or the other? What if the light coming in through the window is brighter in one place or the other and it gives our students headaches? Have we ever asked them? Right? Think about all the different concepts and sensory things you take in. Oh, this Amanda's telling me about time. Okay. Oh, we gotta sit down. Okay, I have 1 minute. Jeez, look at all that stuff. Okay, tell me out some areas. Yell them out. What are we gonna do to sit down, wait quietly, and get off the bus? Yell me out some areas. You can do the big areas. Self-determination, getting off of your bus stop. That's right. O&M, knowing your bus stop. Who else you got? Time management. How long have I been on this bus? I had a kid ride a bus 2 hours, not realizing they weren't at their stop. And they'd missed their stop an hour before. Yep, time management. Social skills, right. What do we do on the bus? Do we listen to our music too loud? Do we put our headphones in? Do we talk to other people? What do you got? Leisure skills, that's right. Do we use the bus to get to sporting events? Yes, 100%. Or can I play a video game on my phone or iPad or music, right? Do I crochet while I'm sitting there, right? Okay. Now you got it. Okay. So that was 8 of the 9 areas of the ECC you just infused in waiting for the bus routine. Do y'all see how you can do it? You can do it. You just took 2 routines you guys do every day, our students do every day, and you have taught so many areas of the ECC. All right, so now I'm encouraging you to get out there and do it. And I'm also offering myself, if you have any routine that you want to do with any of your students that you want the ECC infused in, I will come and help you infuse all the ECCs that you can into that routine. I'm happy to check them if you do it and you want it. Okay? Please, my name is Sara Borlie. I didn't put my name's on the slide. S-A-R-A-B at the MSB. But I will offer myself to infuse the ECC into any of your routines and anything you do. Okay.